Greetings and salutations, ladies and gentlemen. Today I'm here with Sadie Hawkins and we're going to rate all the Yakuza games. Sadie Hawkins is a YouTuber here on, YouTube, obviously, making trans content. But as it turns out, we're both fans of Like a Dragon, or Yakuza, or Ryuga Gotoku series, whatever you want to call it. And we're going to rank these games together. If you're interested, I left a link to Sadie's YouTube channel in the description. Go check it out if you want to. Before we start, are there any games in the series that you haven't played?
Okay, so looking at the list here, there's a couple that I've never even heard of. Like, what is Streets of Kamurocho? That sounds really cool. But I haven't played the Yakuza's... I haven't played Pirate Yakuza. I haven't played the Ishin. And I haven't played 3 except just a little bit. That was the one. I've got things to say about 3, so we'll talk about that. But yeah, outside of that, I've played most of them pretty thoroughly. So
okay, yeah, I played most of them, including the spin-off games like Judgment, and I recently played Yakuza Dead Souls this year. Actually, I haven't finished it. I'm approximately 70% in that game.
Now 70% like through the plot, or 70%?
Through the plot. Not completion. That would
So
take
you're
a
about
little
10%
longer
through
than
the
that.
game.
Yeah. Those games can be quite bloated to do 100% completion on.
And I haven't played Dead Souls either, so you got me there.
Okay.
You're one ahead of me there at least. So.
Okay.
And I have played Judgment, Lost Judgment, and I played like a little bit of the Kato Files, but I didn't play much of those.
Okay. So I think we should just rank main entries and Judgment spin-offs. Maybe I'll do Dead Souls by myself.
Yeah. Though I remember reading an old review of that, having no idea what Yakuza was, and being like, "What the hell is this? This sounds amazing," and it still sounds amazing. So like, I can't wait for that one. Oh
yeah, actually, the first time I ever came across this series, I believe, was in 2015, and it was a trailer for Yakuza 3 that showed up on my YouTube feed, and I was thinking, this looks a little bit like Tekken, but like open world-ish Tekken, and it caught my attention immediately. What are your thoughts on Kiwami 1, the remake of the first game?
I really liked it. I mean, I love that with the Dragon engine. That's what kept me from playing a lot of those older games. Like playing 3 was so tough because there was no Dragon engine version of 3, and I got back into the series with Yakuza 0. So I played 4. And I was kind of like, what the heck is this? And then so I played 0, and I fell in love with the Dragon engine, because I'm a big graphics girl. Like, when it comes to games, like, I'm all about graphical fidelity and stuff. I'm a video editor. I just really like high-resolution images. And I'm also kind of a min-maxer when it comes to stuff like that. Like, I just want the best images. And so I like Yakuza 1, but I also think that between 0 and 2... that's the weaker one of the Kiwami games, like of the remakes. Like, I wasn't super in love with 1, compared to 2 or 0. So I don't know. I would say great, though. Like, they remade it for a reason.
Okay, would you put it in the great games category or peak fiction?
I put it in great.
Okay, I would put it in peak fiction, actually. It's one of my 2 or 3 main entries in the series.
Okay.
I find a lot of people disagree with me, especially if they started with 0 and went to Kiwami 1, which has pretty much the same type of gameplay mechanics and minigames and all of that. But the reason why I put it in peak fiction, why this is S tier for me, is purely for story telling reasons. And I think it's just such a great start to everything. We have the relationship between Kiryu and Haruka established, Kiryu and Date, and it's just such a perfect way, and I love those moments these characters have together. Especially, I think it's one of those games in the series where we have the best moments between Kiryu and Date, at least until Infinite Wealth.
だってさ、はるかは見たこともねえ母親探しにたった一人であの町に乗り込んできた9歳の女の子がだ。ただ母親に会いたい、その一心でな。ああ、はるかが俺から離れようとしたって聞いたとき、俺は10年前のことを思い出した。何より大事なものを守りたい一心で自分のしたことを信じてた時の気持ちを。今思えば俺は逃げたのかもしれないとも思う。その人間が背負うべき運命を見てられなくて、それを見届ける勇気がなくて、俺は奴の人生を無理やり曲げちまったんだと。だが心のどこかではこうも思うんだ。運命に逆らった自分は正しかったはずだ。大事なもん守るために必死になった人間はどんな壁だって乗り越えられるはずなんだってな。
I love it for that reason. It's pretty much it's the game that made me fall in love with this series, the one I started it with, and for this reason it's absolute peak fiction for me.
I like Date too, so I'll give you that. Like Date's, I love Date. So yeah, and is it Yakuza 1, the original Yakuza 1 that had the Mark Hamill voiceover for?
He voiced Majima. He really did that Joker impression that he would do in the Batman cartoons.
This is the part where you're supposed to laugh! Laugh, you stupid motherfucker!
I think it was the only one that sounded good out of all these characters, because the English voice acting they did for that was atrocious.
Yeah. Is that the one also that I think it's 2 that where the Chinese guy looks way more creepy? Like they in one of the characters looks really kind of like a normal guy, but then in one of the remasters he looks like a stone face evil kind of guy or something like that. I forget. I don't know. I'll have to look that up. But yeah, there was some kind of like they changed the facial structures of one of the characters, but I think that might have been in one of the later games, like 6 or something like that.
Could be.
Can we get to 6?
I'm not sure if I'm sure which character you're talking about.
There was like a hitman character. Like I know that really lowers it. You know.
Is it the Chinese guy?
Yeah, he's the Chinese guy. He's like really creepy looking.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember his name. I think it's Liu.
It's something.
Something
It's
Liu
like or something like that.
Yeah, I think my knowledge of the Yakuza games is being tested right now. We're not real fans. We're not true fans.
Oh, I'm so disappointed. I was gonna wear my Majima jacket, but it's too hot right now. I have a Majima jacket. Every once in a while, I cosplay as Majima.
Oh, yeah, you should have. Oh, it's such a waste.
But it's like a million fucking degrees in here. Pardon my language. So I agree. Peak fiction. You got me.
Okay, I'm glad I was able to convince you on that.
Well, I forget about Date. Then again, you forget about characters. You know.
There you go. So. Yakuza 2, or the remake of 2.
I think they're the same, right? They're the same. They're in the same because I never played the original 2, and so like I love 2. That's great, incredible game for me. Like I just love that game so much. Like the whole like power dynamic, that really crazy, like kind of unstoppable badass force that kind of comes up against Kiryu. You know, I love that character. I love the whole half-brother story arc. I love the Japanese fiction trope where like nobody is really that bad, even the worst guy in the world, because they're just kind of misunderstood, or you know, like that's always every JRPG. Like somebody will be robbing somebody in Yakuza, but then all of a sudden, oh, I'm just doing it to take care of my, sick daughter or something, and then you're like, oh, okay, well, let's solve your problem. Like, that is every interaction in Yakuza. So at the end, this crazy evil character who's just been dominating and hurting everybody the whole game is just like, oh no, don't worry, I'm alright. It's the Darth Vader thing. Like, oh, I get to go to heaven now. It's okay. Like, it's alright. But I love that game. Like, it's one of my favorite, and one of my favorite 100%s too. Like, it's a really satisfying 100%.
You actually did 100% completion.
I've done maybe 5 or 6 of them, like totally 100%.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, including Koi Koi and Mahjong and just like really ridiculous Chinese games that I just had to do a bunch of tutorials about, and yeah. So those are 120, 150 hour games,
Yeah, that's crazy. I never actually did 100% run on any of these games, but as I told you on like an off-screen conversation we had last time, Mahjong is one of my favorite activities in this game, and actually I never do it in the first game on the replays, only in the second, because originally in Yakuza 2, that's where actually Mahjong gets introduced along with Shogi, so I always skip those two in the first game. But regarding the story of Yakuza 2, I absolutely love the dynamic between Kaoru, Sayama, and Kiryu, and I think it's such a shame that this series doesn't really have that many interesting female characters.
I mean, it's a boys' club, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? I think it's one of the biggest sins of this whole game series, but I absolutely love Kaoru, and her presence there alone elevates this game even higher for me. It elevates it above peak fiction, honestly.
俺はお前の過去の全ては知らねえ。でも俺は誰が何と言おうと、本当のお前は優しい人間だって思ってるぜ。おせっかいだったかもしれねえが、一人の男の意見として覚えておいてくれ。
あんたって不思議な人やね。本当にヤクザやったのが信じられへん。
だから言ったろ。人から見た印象なんてその程度のものだってことだ。
Yeah, what you said about the villain there, it's like towards the end of the game, you start to sort of respect him.
Yeah.
In a way, you see that he's an honorable guy. I don't necessarily agree with what he's doing, but I can respect him, Unlike Nishiki from the first game, which I didn't really find that likable in the end, even after he redeemed himself. But something about Goda is just fascinating, really.
Yeah. Plus, he's just freaking he's got that bleach blonde hair and everything, and he's just like physically imposing and just like the perfect example of what you would think a guy like that would be. Like, the character design on him is incredible. And but I was thinking about something in regards to that. That's peak fiction. I think we agree, right?
Yeah, we agree on that.
Yeah. Okay. But I thought it would be funny if in Yakuza, at the end of Yakuza 1, he goes to prison for another, 10 years, and then at the end of Yakuza 2, he goes to prison for 10 years, and then by, Yakuza 7, he's, 150 years old. But that would make sense in this world, a 150-year-old guy. Just at the end of each game, and even if everything resolves fine, they just find some other reason to throw him back into prison, like The Simpsons or something, where they go, oh yeah, we're just throwing Sideshow Bob back in prison because this is a status quo show and Sideshow Bob belongs in prison.
Yeah, I think people in the world of the Yakuza games, they just age differently.
Oh yeah,
Well,
stock car racer kid grows up throughout the series.
Kids grow up, but it's by the time they hit 40 that they pretty much remain the same. They age only in number, not
Yeah.
biologically or appearance-wise.
That's real people too. That's real people. Once you turn 35, it's just this flat line, like plateau, emotional plateau.
There's research that suggests that people age the most in their life during their teenage years and their 40s. Actually, and around the time they turn 60, there's like those 3 points where people age the most. But it seems that the people of the Yakuza games don't really follow those rules, if they can be called rules.
Yeah. So what's next?
Have you enjoyed the Cabaret Club minigame in Yakuza 2 Kiwami, where you're managing that club?
Yeah, anything that's like a micro mini game where I have to build up my stats and collect money, and then that's one of the greatest things about Yakuza and the subquests is you just have these little games that, like, I would never play a full game like that, but it's like a mobile game. It's like this really self-contained kind of dumb Farmville, game that doesn't have a lot of really complicated rules, but it's just fun to do. And I put on a movie or a podcast, and I just sit there and I grind it out to 100%, and I have a great time. But also, I must say, all those games, the second I am done with them, I am done with them. Like, I do not, they are very much the side quests and stuff. Like, I'm not really invested in the thing. I'm invested in completing it as efficiently as humanly possible. And for me, 100%ing on those things are all about efficiency. It's like, how quickly can I do this, as opposed to like, it sounds weird, but more like, how fun is this? It's more like, I need to, and I just love it. Especially as a sex worker, like, I love stuff like that. Like, it's part of the reason why I love Yakuza is because it's the only video game series that shows those kinds of lives with real accuracy.
Yeah, I think there will be one entry in the series we'll get to later where I kind of want to talk about that thing specifically. But yeah, for me, when it comes to like those main mini games that take a long time, I always love to 100% complete them. Should we put Yakuza 2 above 1? I think we would both agree on that.
Yeah, 2 is where, I love 2.
Great, and now to what is often considered the black sheep of the Yakuza games, Yakuza 3.
It was part of my completion. Like, there was a time when I was like, it was COVID era, I was like, okay, I'm gonna play through all these games, and I just started playing through 3, and I was like, I hate this game. I, like, legitimately hate this game. And I'm not somebody who likes to say the word hate, because it's another pinpoint on the map of hate, but Jesus Christ, like, I fucking hate that game. The wandering through the forest, trying to, like, free the traps and stuff, because I play it with 100% mindset. And that 100% on that game is ridiculous. So.
Yeah, I mean, that's understandable. I think there's a big difference if you approach it just to experience the story and complete some things like side quests and like the main mini games. Have fun with some other activities, but I can understand that. Another game for me that actually absolutely ruined a game for me that I think is genuinely good is Crash Bandicoot It's About Time, which came out a few years ago, which if you do 100% completion on that, it's absolute torture and you end up hating it.
I started to approach that game as well with a 100% thing, and I was like, oh my god, are you guys kidding me with this? Like, it was just insane, the amount of like gold trophies, and then you have to get like the secret gold trophies and stuff, and I'm like, no, I'm not doing that for maybe if I was like 10, but no,
I have fun doing that as a kid too on those old games on PS1, but not with this one, let me tell you. But
Crash Bandicoot, absolute terrible, lowest tier.
But before I played Yakuza 3, I've heard that it's a total piece of crap, and I actually ended up liking it. Not loving it, but I liked it. And even going from the graphics in Yakuza Kiwami 2 to the graphics of Yakuza 3, yes, it kind of throws you off. But at the same time, hell, I play a lot of games from the 90s. Sometimes even older than that. I'll revisit like those old RPGs and original Nintendo. And the graphics don't bother me at all. I don't think the story is as good, but at the same time, I think it's sort of wholesome. The moment we have between Kiryu and the kids at the orphanage, I think it's an important part of his arc that I wouldn't necessarily skip, but I wouldn't necessarily revisit, other than for cutscenes alone.
Yeah, and for me, I'm all about quality of life when it comes to games, you know, like making games fun and accessible in many ways. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, like, I play Dark Souls, which is like the least quality of life. Like, those are other games that I've put a lot of my life into 100%ing, you know, and so I don't, it's not like I want easy games or anything, but that game, I'm into Yakuza for very specific reasons, and those specific reasons do not have anything to do with running an orphanage.
わあ、カレーだ。まだダメ。みんな揃ってからってルールでしょ。はーい。わあ、カレーだ。早く食べたい。集まったわね。あれ？泉は？え？泉ちゃんどこだろう？知らない。シロ、あんた今日学校から一緒に帰ってこなかった？うん。帰ってきたけど。
ん？どうしたシロ？知らないのか？
知らない。どこ行っちゃったんだろう。
いいじゃん、先に食べちゃおうよ。
そうだよ、別に大丈夫だって。
おじさん、どうする？
よし、探してこよう。お前たちは食べてていいぞ。
はーい、いただきます。
I think it's flawed but enjoyable. I think unless you start getting into the bad stuff, you know, like the legitimate, all these games are fucking great. Like, even though Yakuza 3 is not the best Yakuza game, it's still better than, you know, it's kind of like, I always think about Batman the Animated Series from the 90s, you know, and it's, everything of that is so good that it was just so much better than everything else that was coming out at the time, and especially for a PS3 era game, Yakuza 3 was really great and inventive and crazy and stuff, but I just, compared to all the other ones, it's not good, but compared to everything else, it's fabulous, you know?
Yeah, I believe it's different when you go from the OG Yakuza 2 on PS2 to Yakuza 3. Yeah. It has a lot of stuff going on, a lot more activities, but I can understand why it can feel flat compared to some other entries. You know, I'd put it in flawed but enjoyable. What about you?
I agree, yeah.
Okay.
It is the one game, though, that I gave up on of theirs, you know.
Oh, so you never actually completely...
Never actually completed it, no.
Oh, but do you mean 100% completion or story completion?
No, I just didn't even get that. I got to I got about 10, 15, 20 hours into it. I was just like, no. Actually, I don't think I've... Maybe I beat 5, but I don't think I 100%ed 5, so 5 is also... I don't remember much about 5.
Okay. We'll get to 5 later, but actually I have a friend that also gave up on Yakuza 3 because of the chase sequences that he hated in it. Absolutely.
Yeah, some of the chase sequences you have to do for 100%. Like, there's one, I think, at the end of 6 that is so fucking hard. Oh my god. Like... And you have to do it in a very specific way to 100% it, and it's, oh my god, it's a nightmare.
I don't remember there being any chase sequences in 6, actually.
I'm trying to think, no, it was one at the end where you're chasing somebody to the airport. It might have been 5, it might have been Judgment, I don't know, they all get confused.
They're very similar to each other.
Full disclosure, full disclosure, at the time of my life when I was 100%ing Yakuza games, I was drinking and smoking a lot of weed. So it's kind of like that was a time in my life where maybe not everything was absorbed 100%, you know? So.
Yeah, that happens. That happens. Okay, Yakuza 4. I think that some people love it, and some people hate it. Into which category do you fall into? Or are you somewhere in the middle?
I think story-wise, it has one of the most compelling stories, but it's also one of the most bullshit stories. Like the whole shooting thing, and then that whole twist there and everything is just like, are you kidding me? And I think it was a really good idea to include so many different characters. I think that kind of added a lot of depth to the system, but I also it's not my favorite. I like Saejima a lot, you know, but I don't like the other guy, the guy with the tan overcoat. I forget his name, the loan shark. He's not my favorite.
Akiyama?
Akiyama, yeah. I like Akiyama, I think, in 6, or I like Akiyama later in the series, but he's not my favorite in that game. And Saejima's not even really my favorite either, so.
Okay.
But I love Majima. Majima is what I'm here for. Like, I'm the biggest Majima fan, so.
I love Majima myself. Actually, for me, it's hard to choose between Kiryu or Majima. I love them both.
No contest for me.
But Kiryu is the type of guy I'd be willing to marry. In complete honesty, like, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, no, definitely. I would want to marry Kiryu, but I would end up with Majima. That's my.
He would be your side fuck.
Yeah. Yeah, and but I would probably be fucking Saejima. That's who I would. If I had the 4 of them, I would probably go for Saejima just for the pure, like, you know, there's something about him. And I've always liked guitar players, and he looks like a big guitar player. But isn't that? But also think about, like, that scene nowadays, especially in America, is a lot. You know, like that wasn't so common now, but now it's like, just I was thinking about the other day of somebody just going into a restaurant and blowing everybody away. It's like, it's not really something that you see very often in media, you know, nowadays. So yeah.
I have very conflicted thoughts on Yakuza 4, because sometimes I think it's the best one in the whole series. Sometimes I like it more than Yakuza 2. Other times I think there are some, deep flaws. One of my biggest issues with 4 is that the story is kind of a rip-off of an American TV show, Prison Break.
Oh, really?
In many ways. I think there are some clear parallels there, and I'm not sure if it was intentional, because I don't know if the Japanese creators of these games watch American television. Maybe they do. I believe they're like interested in cinema in general, both Western and Eastern, and they definitely have some influences from there in their games. But you know, like the general story of Prison Break is that there's this guy who was supposed to shoot someone, but it turns out when he arrives there that person is dead. He was just supposed to be there to point a gun at them so he could go to prison, and he's sentenced to death, but he didn't actually kill that person, and he did that to protect his son. Well, when it comes to the story of Saejima, the son is replaced with his sister, but it's sort of very similar situation where he arrives to the restaurant to shoot those people, but he's not the one that's actually killing them, and he's sentenced to death. He escapes from prison. It's sort of a very similar story, and it always aches me whenever I play it.
Yeah. Anything with that big of a contrivance at the center of it, story-wise, just gets me. Like, the idea that he didn't kill all those people, it's like, because you're playing the game and you're like, okay, well, how do I parse my morals with this character who killed all these people, right? And then you go, oh, well, there must be some twist. And then the twist is, oh, well, they were all fake bullets. I'm sorry, but if I this is YouTube, so if I unalived a bunch of people, I would probably be able to tell if they were dead. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, and this isn't Casablanca. When you shoot somebody, they become shot. Like they don't just. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think the lack of blood on the scene was a dead giveaway, because how do you not know it? Like, you would spray the whole restaurant with blood after killing like 18 people or whatever it was.
I mean, last time I did something like that, it was a mess. So I mean, wait. But yeah, I do must say that having the gun in your mouth is fucking badass. Like that as an image, like fucking.
Yeah, awesome. It's a desperado or commando type of scene. Absolutely. One of my favorite scenes from 4 is actually Saejima's speech at the Colosseum.
誰や今俺に一人増えても問題ない言うたやつはお前かお前かお前ら殺せ殺せ言うてるけどもやなこん中でほんまに人殺した奴がおるんかこらええか教えといたるわ人を殺すっちゅうんはな人を殺すっちゅうんはなごっつ怖いもんなんじゃ25年前のあの日から俺は毎日必ず夢を見る18人殺した日の夢や殴った奴の方の感触骨が砕ける瞬間の音悲鳴死んでいった奴の顔全部が事細かに夢に出る死んだ人間の家族に申し訳ないとかそんなんは当然思うそやけどなそんなもんちゃうね人を殺したらな殺した人間は恐怖から逃げられへんね毎日怖い思いせなあかんねそれがどんなに苦しいことかお前らにわかるかくだらんこんな勝負は
What are your thoughts on Tanimura?
I don't know who that is.
Oh, he's the cop. That is one of the playable characters that you play right after Saejima.
Oh, okay. So I thought it was Kiryu Majima Saejima,
Oh.
and so you
No,
don't
no, no.
play as Majima.
Majima isn't actually playable in Yakuza 4.
Oh wow, okay,
So
yeah.
There's Tanimura,
okay.
which is it's the only game in which he was, and because the actor that played Tanimura, he was involved in a drug scandal, which
really?
which in Japan is actually very controversial. It's pretty much a career killer if you do that.
Wow. Yeah, no, I that's an interesting tidbit. I didn't know that, but no, I honestly, I don't really quite remember that character.
Okay, because he's a character that elevates the game for me. Much like Sayama in Yakuza 2, I love these characters so much, so I can sometimes overlook the flaws of Yakuza 4. But I'm not sure where I would put 4. I'm thinking either Peak Fiction or Great Games. What about you?
I put great. Like I think it. I don't know. You said it was one of your favorites though, and it was the first one I played. But it's also the first one I played, and then I didn't play another one for like 8 years or something. So it was very much a game where I was like, I don't understand this. There's too much to this game, and I don't know what this. Having no idea what Yakuza was, and being kind of like 26 and being like, I don't know what this is. Like this is too foreign. I'd never really played JRPGs very much and stuff. And so I was really confused by it. So it's definitely not an accessible game, but I like it a lot. And so yeah, I'd put great. I would put great. I wouldn't put it as the top though.
I'm conflicted between the two because
I'm
somewhere in the middle
at the top. So what does that mean? You know what I mean? Like I put Judgment above that.
Like I'm somewhere in between Great Games and Peak Fiction, but since you said Great Games, then we're going to lean more towards that. Okay.
I don't remember anything about 5, so you'll have to. And I think I have played 5. I'm just trying to think of what even 5 was about.
Yeah, it's hard to summarize 5 because it's about so many different things. There are so many different separate stories happening.
That's where you're a taxi driver.
Yeah, Kiryu
right?
is a taxi driver, like Robert De Niro.
Except he's a nice guy. He's a nice.
Saejima
and that's the dance concert.
Yeah,
like
Haruka is an idol. She's like this in this sort of Princess League, which is sort of like an idol competition. Saejima is in the mountains hunting and fighting a bear that you mentioned earlier.
Wait, so Yakuza 3, you don't fight a bear in that one?
No, that's Yakuza 5.
Okay, yeah. There's a bear doesn't come to the orphanage and you have to fight it, or
No. I think that was too much alcohol and weed.
Yeah, I think I might have gotten a bootleg there or something.
Yeah. But you remember there was a bear, so...
Yeah, I did. I remember doing the taxi driver minigame. Okay, so 5 is the one that I must have not played hardly any of 3, but 5 is the one that I kind of gave up because I was trying to... You have to check some traps in the forest or something like that, and I kind of gave up on that part. So, yeah, okay... Yeah.
Yeah, for me, after I completed the third part of Yakuza 5, which is Akiyama and Haruka's part, and I started Shinoda's part, at that point, I was so exhausted with this game, feeling like fatigued with it. I took a half-year break before I continued it, but by that time, I forgot a lot of what actually happened before, so a lot of things that happened in the fourth part and in the finale that I think was just way too long.
Yeah.
It sort of went over my head because I didn't remember who the characters were.
堀江ちゃんしっかりしろ堀江ちゃん今すぐ救急車呼ぶから
119番消防です。火事ですか？救急ですか？もしもし。どうされましたか？
誰だ？
知る必要はない。今すぐ楽にしてやる。
火事ですか？
秋山さん。
おい、どこ見てんだよ。バケモンか。
And I think that's one of the biggest flaws of this game is just how big and bloated it is.
Yeah.
But there are some...
Well, because it's 5 characters, right?
Yeah. And they never done that before after
Yeah.
this game, which makes me think that they sort of realize, okay, maybe we're going a little bit too much in that direction, and it all felt so disjointed.
Yeah.
But there are aspects of it I genuinely like. I think the taxi missions are pretty fun, the racing of that. There's a lot of great minigames in this one. It's probably one of the most minigames heavy.
Yeah, I remember doing the taxi. I remember doing the taxi stuff quite a bit. And one of my favorite things to do in this game is, you know, the dialogue, you have to press a button for it to go forward generally, you know, and so oftentimes what'll happen is, for example, there was one scene where a guy in a really crazy mascot costume was like grabbing somebody by the shoulders and shaking them, and he was saying something, but the only way you could go past that scene was to press a button. So if you just left it there, this guy would be infinitely shaking this person. And there were a lot of scenes like that in these little funny vignettes that if you don't let them go forward, they just kind of remain in this perpetual kind of like funny little vignette. And I remember the taxi driving scenes. There was one point where there was an American in the car, and you could just let it go forever and ever, and he just had this really like goofy like, you know, thing on it, and it was just, I remember leaving that on my screen forever, and my roommate coming and being like, what the hell is going on with this guy on the screen? And yeah, there's lots of little funny ways to break the kind of weird structure of how the stories go and stuff, and yeah, I always like that. So I just remember that being the only valuable part of the taxi was this weird little vignette of this guy making a weird little face or something.
Okay. See, I'm not even sure if I remember that. Actually, it's the only game in the series, at least at this point, because the ones that come after, I usually play them once, but this one I only played once, actually, out of the Kiryu saga. The 1 to 6 and 0. It's the only one that I played just once and never actually returned to, mostly because when I think about returning to it and I think about how long it will take me to do all that, and I know I won't do just story, that I'll be tempted to do the side stuff.
Yeah.
I'm like, you know, adult life, right? You have other responsibilities. You can't spend half a year in this game.
That's a YouTube video for me. Whenever I want to revisit that, I'm like, I'll just watch a YouTube video.
Yeah, I would put it in flawed, but enjoyable.
Definitely.
Just like 3, actually. Yeah.
I don't think these are controversial opinions, though. Though I remember talking bad about the third one on the Yakuza subreddit and being like, I hate this game. And people being like, no, you just don't have, you lack culture, you just don't understand anything. And I'm like, that could be true, very true, but I also hate this game. Those two things could be true.
Yeah, I don't think we had any controversial opinions here so far. Now, Yakuza 0, let's do this one before we do 6.
Fucking peak, like, just incredible. There's no argument there. Like, that is for most people, I think, the number one game of this. Like, I mean, if you are coming into the series new, that's where to start, and if anybody is trying to fall in love with the series, that's where you tell them to go. It's the only one have they remade it twice, or have they only remade it once? They made it and now they're remaking it, right? There was no.
There's a remaster coming to Nintendo Switch, I think, or like a director's cut version of it.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna play it, but yeah.
I
don't have
Zero
Switch.
Was one of the.
So.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I got mine right here. I'm a Switch. I used to be more of a bottom, but now I've got a Switch. But yeah, just total peak for me. There's no question about that.
For me, okay. You know, I said we haven't said anything controversial until now. I'm gonna say something that might be considered a little controversial, but I don't think it's the best game in the series. I think it's great. I think it's big fiction, without a doubt. But I like 1 and 2 more than I like 0.
No. I think what ascends 0 is the setting. I think all the other games they don't have that unique aspect of the 1980s setting. Like that's what elevates it, because Yakuza feels timeless regardless. Like there's not a lot of iPads and cell phones and that kind of stuff. It still feels really timeless. But that game very particularly makes it feel like that should be the setting for all the games a little bit. Like it has this kind of, but also just that everything about it, like the VHS vibe and the just the overwhelming like love of money and that theme. Like it's the one that seems the most themed to me, you know? And yeah.
Yeah, well, regarding that money theme, because it takes place in a particular era in Japan of the economic growth, that time period called the bubble. But I also think Yakuza 3 sort of plays into the economy in Japan when there was economic crisis around the time, and Yakuza 3 actually takes that into consideration as well, and you actually make less money in that game than in 1 and 2. But in 0 you make a fuckload of money, obviously.
Which even as an American resonates, because 80s was money.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
so that,
absolutely.
It's just that idea of like 80s being about being a rich asshole. That's kind of the tenor of that game.
Yeah. And the novel American Psycho is sort of a commentary on that culture, specifically. But I love the story of Yakuza 0. Actually, let me say it in a different way. For the most part, I found the Kiryu's part of the story kind of boring. I actually enjoyed the whole real estate side stuff, more interesting than Kiryu's main story for the most part.
Yeah.
But Majima's part, if it was just that, like Majima and Makoto, the blind woman, it would be my favorite. I think it would beat Yakuza 2 for me if it was just that. Yeah. But because there's more than that, it doesn't. And then the reason I like 1 and 2 a little better is because I think there's this storyline with like Kiryu and Haruka, and Yakuza 0 feels separate from that, which makes me like it a little less, but I still think it's peak fiction.
あなたは目どうしたの？その片目がなんで見えなくなったのかなって。
ああ、俺の場合は怪我っちゅうかな。事故みたいなもんでもう完全に潰れてもうだ。
そんな。
もう一つの目は残っとる。別にそれで十分や。
かわいそう。
な？アホか。お前の方がよっぽどやろ。
私の目は心因性だからいつか治るかもってリーさんが。
そうなんか？なら望みはまだあるっちゅうことやな。よかったやないか。
でもあなたの目は
もう慣れとる。そない不自由しとらんわ。せいぜい男前が台無しになっただけや。
男前なんだ。
目が揃っとったらな、お見せできんのが残念やで、ほんま。
残念。
少しは笑えるようになったか。うん？ なんやお前、時計しとるんか。見えへんのに、けったいなやっちゃ。
まあね。でも可愛いでしょ。
せやから見えへんのやろうちゅうとるやろが、まったく。
分かってるよ。でもね、これオルゴールの曲が鳴るの。それがまた可愛くって癒されるんだ。
うん、どないの音や。
今は鳴らない。だって時計が壊れてるから。
なんやねん。
でも捨てられないものってあると思わない？他人から見れば全く意味がないけど、自分にとってはなんだか。
So I would put it in peak fiction right behind 2 and 1. What about you?
There's the peak best. Like, I mean, but yeah, I think we both agree that 2 has our favorite, maybe our favorite antagonist, and so I can't even think of who the bad guy is in Yakuza 2.
Yeah,
Yakuza
there were like 3 of them from the Dojima family. I found them to be quite forgettable. One of them reminds me a bit of what's this actor who played Victor in Reservoir Dogs by Quentin Tarantino? Michael Madsen, I think. One of these bad guys from Yakuza 0 kind of reminds me of him.
Yeah. The guy in the blue tracksuit. Yeah,
like this purple jacket.
But it does have the best moment in the series. I think. Can we agree on that at least? The very ending where Kiryu and Majima meet for the first time, and they're walking towards each other under that big lighted balcony thing, and they're walking towards each other, and he goes whatever, and he looks at him all stern, and he goes, Kiryu! Or whatever. Isn't that at the end of 0?
Yeah, it is. Okay, I think it's a post-credit scene. You know?
Yeah.
Actually, I like the scene that preceded it, when Majima is watching Makoto leave, and she doesn't recognize him, and he knows that, their paths are going to diverge. But then she visits her brother's grave, and she noticed that her watch is fixed. When it starts playing that melody, is buried there, and that Majima did it for her. I find that scene so touching. I think it's one of the best moments in the series.
Oh, it's so good. The one thing too is, and we'll move on to the next one, but I never really understood how Majima became Majima. And I know that's the whole point of that game, but there's never one point where he goes, like, what did he just find a snakeskin jacket somewhere and just decide to be like, I'm gonna be, I was kind of hoping that, and they do this in another game, I'm trying to think, but there to be a character or something that he looks at and goes, oh, well, that's me, I'm gonna be that guy, and isn't there a character like that in one of them where he's kind of a little bit like Majima, but pre-Majima,
Yeah, his name is Nishitani. Yeah, but actually I found it to be, I agree with you, actually I find it to be one of the most disappointing aspects of 0, is that we don't actually get to see this transformation of Majima from like the normal guy to the crazy Majima we see in 1 and 2. And there's a lot of people who played 0 first, they sort of expect Majima to be the same in the next games as the one that they grew to love in 0, but then they see this crazy guy, and I've talked to a lot of people who said, I don't like this new Majima. Whereas for me, as someone who started from Kiwami 1, and I learned to love this crazy, insane person we get to see there, it felt different, because I wanted to see, when I approached 0, I want to see what made him that way. And we get a little bit of those answers there, but I wanted more of the transformation. But
also, I must say, the fact that you could pull that name immediately means that you don't have to ever worry about being a fake, Yakuza fan. The fact that you knew exactly what I was talking about and was able to pull that name, so... So don't worry about it.
Yeah, so since I like 1 and 2 more, and you would put it all the way at the top, should we put it in between 1 and 2? That's my negotiation offer.
Above 1, below 2.
Let's do that.
But the remake, though, I'm really excited about, because that's just gives me another opportunity to see. And I'm curious if it's Dragon Engine or not, or if it's going to be...
Oh, there's Zero. Sorry, I couldn't find Zero, because it has a different cover.
Yeah, the original Zero is...
It's like this blue thing. Yeah, it looks different, so I was a bit confused looking around. Okay, let's do 6.
6 is... I love 6 so much. It's the most cinematic, I think. It's just... There's so much to it. Beat Katana... Beat Katano, the actor who plays the father, kind of the old patriarch character. He is like a legendary Japanese actor. He's incredible. I love him. He's, and he's been making video games since like the NES era and stuff. So it's like.
Oh, I didn't actually know that. So.
Yeah, there was a game called Beat's Adventure or something like that, which was like an NES game that you could like sing into, and he helped make it and stuff like that. So he's been like this. He's like the Tom Hanks or the Jim Carrey or something of Japan. Like he's a filmmaker. He makes serious movies. He makes funny movies. He makes video games and just does so much. And him being included really made it elevated it beyond anything else. And I think some of the later games tried to kind of make that cinematic feel a little bit, especially Judgment. But I think 6 is the one that really feels like literally like peak cinema, peak fiction, So.
Yeah.
And it's also the most bullshit. Like there's a fucking no spoilers, but it's bullshit. Like the plot of that game is bullshit, and in an incredibly wonderful way.
I mean, I have to agree with you that it's a great game. 100%. For me, it's peak fiction. Even though I didn't like the combat in this game as much as I did in 0 or even 5. I think 5 and 0 had much better combat than 6. But another thing I didn't necessarily like about 6 is that it removed a lot of the minigames that we had in the early entries. So roulette is gone, baccarat is gone, Same goes for Chohan and CeeLo. And I think this might be, I don't know how many people actually talk about this because I don't really hear this opinion a lot, but I think it might have been one of the biggest mistakes the creators of the Yakuza games have made by removing that stuff at that
But they
point.
added a bunch too. They added the fish game. I love the fish game. That is way more engaging than any. Because I, as a 100% person, I am so grateful they got rid of that bullshit. You know what I mean? Like that, the idea of having to play koi koi and I don't mind shogi because it's really easy to like find the answers online, you know, and because I'm not gonna play shogi. Like I'm gonna find the answers online and put them into the, you know, but I loved the seafood challenge. Like that's like a whole nother game called. I think it's called like Seafood Samurai or something like that. There's already a PlayStation 1 game that is just like the seafood game in that, where you're underwater and shooting all this stuff. Like that was so fun for me, and the baseball mini game, I loved that so much.
Like the manager, being a baseball team manager. Yeah, I love that too. And yeah, I'm trying to think what else was in 6.6. Yeah, the Cat Cafe. The Cat Cafe was pretty fun, actually.
You didn't really get to manage the cat cafe much, though. It was more just like about finding the cat.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, but you know, I like cats, so this alone made my day. You know,
knocked it up one.
Yeah, well, 6 is definitely peak fiction.
Yeah. God, I love that game.
I would put it here, right behind Kiwami, or above. Yeah. I'm not sure.
I'm fine keeping it just those categories vague because I'm not sure.
I mean, at this, let's do that. At this point, it's kind of hard to rank them like that because I think they're all these 4 games are absolute gold.
It's hard to.
And I find the story of 6 to be really beautiful. Yeah. Especially the ending, it always gets me.
Yeah, and it's a gorgeous game. I love it. Yeah. But again, it's one of the only ones that actually feels like a real story with real people. Also, you know, a lot of the other ones seem like soap operas and stuff like that.
Yeah, before we move to Judgment, I was thinking let's go back a little bit and do Dead Souls.
Yeah, that's all you.
Yeah, so, you know, I'm gonna do it real quick, actually, this one. But I think Dead Souls falls into major problems. Like, I don't think there's any game out of the ones I played that would fall into the absolutely terrible category. None of these are absolutely terrible, but Dead Souls might be the closest that comes to it. The shooting mechanics kind of suck. The story really isn't engaging. I think the best thing about 4 is really Majima, and I absolutely love those character moments that with Majima. He's being his crazy self, and because I think in Yakuza 1 we had to see the crazy side of Majima. This one is equal to that, or maybe even beats it. I think this is the strongest feature of this game by far, but other than that, it's mediocre, really.
Yeah, you put Majima and zombies together and you're gonna come out with an entertaining product, but is that enough? I don't know.
What's wrong?
Well, let's move to a game that I think is much better than Dead Souls, Judgment. Have you played Judgment?
Oh my god, yeah, I 100%ed Judgment, yep.
What are your thoughts?
Oh, I love it. Like, it's one of my favorite stories out of the whole series because it seems like it's, it makes sense, you know? Like, it's kind of like a political intrigue and a scientific intrigue, and it has some kind of Yakuza silliness to it, but also has, you know, like a real story that you can follow that isn't completely, like, ingrained with this, like, Yakuza hierarchy and stuff like that. Like, I'm somebody who does not like hierarchy in fiction. I hate, like, stuff about kings and queens where somebody can't do something because somebody's a king and this and that and everything like that. I like stories about real people having real experiences and not being confined to these systems and stuff. And though I am not a huge fan of the protagonist, like, he's just whatever, I really, really like that game. I love all the vibes of it. I love the staff. I love the, like, the group in his office. I love the character moments and dynamics they have there. But I like the minigames in that one because they just feel so polished. And there's certain things that I really didn't like about the second one, but none of those things are in the first one. I think the first one's great, and the second one was quite a slog, but we'll get to that.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I love the first one. And drone racing, such an amazing way to experience Kamurocho, you know?
Yeah. There are some things that I agree with you. I think Tak, I think that's the name of the protagonist. Yeah, I think he's one of the least interesting characters in the game. I think of him more as a vessel to experience the story through, rather than being a genuinely fleshed out character, unlike some of the characters we got before, like Kiryu and Majima and Saejima and Tanimura, even Akiyama. Yeah, there's just something very bland about him. But yeah, I loved the main story. I loved the villain, the serial killer. It's just, it offers us a bit of a different vibe of Kamurocho. It sort of becomes more like a noir film, which allows us really to experience this city from a bit of a different perspective. I love it for this reason. But another thing I absolutely agree on is drone racing. But I think it's the only activity in this game I genuinely enjoyed, and as fun as it was, I didn't really think it offered that much outside of just, you know, main missions and side quests. And I didn't necessarily like the detective side of gameplay.
No, I don't. I hate that stuff too.
Yeah, especially tailing. And
oh my gosh. Ugh.
And I'm someone who doesn't even complain about the tailing in, like, the older Assassin's Creed games, like Black Flag and those earlier games. I was fine with that, but here just the tailing is really, really boring, especially during later segments where they just walk in circle but don't actually go in a specific place just to make this tailing section longer. But it doesn't actually make logical sense because no one would walk in a circle around a block to go somewhere, you know?
Yeah.
Unless you want to have an extra exercise on your way there. So I'm like, I'm going to do a round around this block.
Yeah, so. The judgment, when you 100% a Yakuza game, you do everything. And then once you 100% everything, you have to play it again on legendary difficulty. To get the 100%. So you basically do everything and then you play it again on legendary to finish it out. And that is the worst game to do that on because you have to do all those tailing missions again, and because those are mostly in the main plot. And so that, like, I would say if the main story playthrough the second time is only about 8 to 10 hours long because you're already super powered, you're already maxed out everything, you just need to play through the main mission. And I would say out of that 8 to 10 hours, like 5 of it is tailing missions, you know? Yeah. And you're just sitting here with a podcast on going, why am I doing this? Why? Just so I could impress some other Yakuza nerds on the internet? And you're like, yeah, that's what I'm doing.
That's why I don't do it, because I actually want to enjoy it.
Someday some guy from Norway is going to contact me and be like, do you want to do a podcast? And I'm going to be like, yeah. That's why.
Well, it actually happened, so you predicted that.
30s, 100%ing these games.
Yeah, that's right. For me, Judgment is sort of the same category as 4, where I'm conflicted, where there are some things I absolutely love about it, and there are some things that bother me.
Yeah. It's the direction of the series that I think bothered me a little bit.
I'd put it in great games. What about you?
Yeah, great games, definitely.
Watch this.
Let's do Judgment 2 before we move to 7 or Like a Dragon.
I think major problems on Justice 2. I hate that game. Like I just did not like that game at all. The school stuff was so annoying and just like the most. You get to this point where you're starting to keep an eye out for AI written stuff, and that was kind of in that generation of like. Maybe games are starting to be written by AI, and there is so much useless dialogue, especially around the school stuff in that game, that it's like, that game I was set out to 100% it, and I played it with the mentality of 100%ing it, but once I started diving into the school stuff, I'm like, who cares? Also, why are you at this school, Yagami? Get out of here, you're a grown-ass man.
Can I interrupt you? By school stuff, do you mean the story that has to do with the school, or do you mean those side activities at school?
Well, yeah, like most of the side activities were centered around the school experience, so it wasn't like you go to one store and do the side activities. The school's involvement in the main plot makes sense, and it's pretty interesting and stuff. But the fact that all the side quests were in this context of school, I just didn't like it. It made it feel that much more like a grind,
Yeah, you said something interesting there about like the adult and actually participating in school clubs, and I think it's especially weird when one of them literally includes like dating. There's a dating club.
Yeah.
And like, what guy in his 30s would date high schoolers? But again,
they should have a date
it's Japan. It's Japan.
Yeah. All these girls are 1,000-year-old dragon girls or something. Yeah. But they should have a date club where you just hang out with date.
You know what? Hell, I'll be on board of that. But what do you mean, the protagonist hanging out with him, or the because it's a school club, so the kids would be hanging out with him?
Yeah, kids hang out. You just smoking cigarettes
and drinking whiskey.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, another of these school clubs actually involve gambling. That is something that just wouldn't happen in Japan, because gambling isn't legal in Japan. That school wouldn't be allowed to function at that point. It would be closed down. But
it's funny that you say that too, because like I've been to Beijing, and you think of Beijing as it's a communist country, so there's not a lot of free markets everywhere. You go to Beijing, and it's like America. There's Pizza Huts, and there's people selling stuff on the street everywhere, and there's all sorts of like, it's not that different, when it comes to like the capitalist nature of people constantly selling you stuff and having this kind of corporate capitalist mindset. And so I'm like, I think The Simpsons said it, they go, wow, for a communist country, there sure are a lot of rudimentary free markets, and that's the way I feel about Yakuza. You're saying that, gambling isn't illegal in Japan. Well, it sure seems like it's illegal.
It's illegal. It's legal at schools, just not for adults. And as long as you're a high schooler, though, that's a different story. Yeah, no, I mean, China always had like some elements of free market. They never actually embrace like this full on communism, which I think might also be the reason why China has actually been more successful than the Soviet Union. But we're getting off topic here, so let's focus on Yakuza. When it comes to Judgment, I like the main story. Sorry, Lost Judgment. I like the main story much less than the first game, and even though I have my own history with bowling, so the concept seemed interesting, but I didn't like the execution. I didn't feel so engaged in it. The main villain was sort of interesting, but then we also had this other guy who was like the anti-hero to the protagonist, which I think is very similar to what has been done in the second season of Daredevil on Netflix. Only I think that show actually did it better. But actually, so for me, Lost Judgment is the very opposite of Judgment. Whereas in Judgment, I loved the story, but I think it was lacking in terms of side activities. For me, Lost Judgment is the opposite. I don't like the story, but I actually do enjoy a lot of side activities there. Motorbike racing,
I love
skateboarding, that robot club, they had like this puzzle thing going on. I actually genuinely liked it.
Speaking of the motorbike racing, I made one of my biggest posts ever on Reddit is if you try to get into the motorbike racing and you're drunk, it won't let you. So if you've been drinking a bunch of like beers and stuff, and then you try to get on the motorbike, it'll say, "Oh, you can't ride your motorbike drunk and stuff." And I'm like, I love this game.
Great. That's a great detail. I loved it too. And also,
it's like Kojima level detail in a game.
Absolutely. I love Kojima too, by the way. But one thing I definitely like about Lost Judgment is that how it includes a collection of Sega Master System games. There. I think that was a great choice. As a guy who loves retro gaming, I absolutely like that. But
I must say, for the 100% though, those are the most painful parts. Like having to beat Virtua Fighter 5 or beat the original Virtua Fighter like all the way through with all the characters, and then like having to do all that kind of stuff. Unfucking bearable. Oh my god. Like, because I don't particularly like I'm old enough that I started with the Atari when I was a kid, and so I played all those games, and so I'm very much like, I don't really want to go back to the blocky era that much. And I appreciate and I respect old games, but no, give me new things. I don't really want to. But also, I've always hated Virtua Fighter. I'm a Tekken girl.
Oh, so. Same. Yeah. Actually, I didn't play Virtua Fighter growing up. Just Tekken and Mortal Kombat is what I grew up with. And actually, I completed all the stages of Virtua Fighter 2 in Yakuza 2 when I played it the first time, and I never did it again because that was absolute torture. So I can't imagine doing it with all the characters.
Every character, and it is a nightmare. I don't know why. So when I look back, just talking now, I look back on them, I'm thinking, what the fuck was I thinking doing some of these things?
So,
but I would put flawed or major problems.
Oh, wow! I'm thinking.
They didn't make another one, did they?
Yeah, I'm sort of the opposite, because I'm thinking somewhere between great games and flawed by enjoyable.
Okay.
So,
flawed.
Yeah, let's compromise.
Is anybody talking about it? Is anybody going, God, when's Tak gonna, when are they gonna show up in Yakuza Like a Dragon? Nobody cares. They're done. Like, literally. Oh. Have you ever heard anybody go, God, I can't wait for the next Judgment game?
Well, actually, I would like to see Judgment 3, to be completely honest. If it was, if it had a story like the first one and activities like the second one, I might actually put it in peak fiction.
He's such a nerd, though.
Yeah, I think there's potential there. I want to see like more interaction between like the Yakuza characters and Judgment characters. I was almost tempted to write a fan fiction where Kiryu and Tak meet each other and like they fight at first, but then they befriend each other and cooperate. Maybe add a little romance between the two. It's fan fiction. It's my shit. I can do whatever I want with it,
And then Majima's in the corner watching, dressed as a cone.
街中にある全てのものが一瞬も止まることのないリアルタイム RPG バトル。攻撃、防御、逃げるだけじゃない。シリーズおなじみのヒートアクションも大幅パワーアップ。よっしゃ行くぞ。戦況を見極め、強力な必殺技で敵を撃破しろ。
I love 7. I love 7 so much. I think it's got such an engaging story. I love the remake, like the remix of it, how they do the like turn-based battles and stuff now. I love the system of it. I like Ichiban a lot. I was afraid he was going to come off as like a Larry Sue kind of character, but he's great. I love him. And yeah, I'm a big fan. It's different, but they're doing both now. They've got, I think everybody was really afraid being like, well, there's only going to be this one kind of game. No, we've got plenty of other, you know, standard Yakuza style games, you know? And I mean, they're like the last Brawler games, so I would have been disappointed to see them go, you know? Because my favorite game as a kid was, like, Die Hard Arcade. Any game where you're just in a room beating the shit out of guys. Like, those are my favorite games. And Final Fight and Streets of Rage and stuff like that. And so this is just the next version of that. And I can't think of anything comparable. You know, even games like Sifu and stuff like that, you know? But, so I'm glad that they are maintaining the other ones, but I like this new direction. And I fucking love that game. And the Kiryu reveal and the Majima reveal, like, there's so much in that game that is fucking incredible.
Yeah. I was very open to this new direction of, like, turn-based combat, because I grew up with Final Fantasy games. So, you know, for me, I was happy to hear that. I like turn-based combat. It took me a long time to be completely sold on Ichiban. Like, completely. I found it a bit too goofy at times. But he's someone who grows on you, because, you know, beyond that goofiness, you see his heart of gold that's behind it. And you sort of fall in love with that, you know what I mean?
It's like a dog. You know, like he's just like he's like a golden retriever or something.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. He's sort of like...
he's dateable too. You know, not dateable, but dateable. Like he's, you know, legitimately just, he's not the worst looking guy in the world, and he just has this vibe about him where you're like, I want to spend more time with this dude. You know. And I've never been the biggest Kiryu fan, because he's just a kind of a stone-faced, you know, he doesn't, he has a character, but his character is more just, like, good. You know, I don't know, you know.
I'm not sure if I agree, because I think Kiryu is very different from, like, the silent type characters, because, yes, there's an element of stoicism to Kiryu, but he's also the type of guy you can actually confine in and talk about practically everything, and you know he's not someone who's going to judge you, no matter what.
He's kind
unless you know, it's a side quest in Yakuza 2 with diapers. That's a one exception.
I knew we were going to get to that eventually. So I've made a video about that. I've made a video talking about that perspective as you know, as somebody who has done, like, that work in the, you know, professional mommy work, where you're getting men and they're paying to be put into diapers and stuff like that. Like, I have done that work, so seeing that expressed in a video game is like, oh my god, like, nobody ever talks about this, and for good reason. But it was interesting to see, and that's again why I love the series so much, is no other video games expose those parts of the world that exist, and they have this comic bent on them, but anybody in Japan knows that, like, there's those places, and there's sissification places, and infantilization places, and stuff like that, and professional mommies that'll give you milk if you want, and put you in diapers, and so, yeah, they lampoon it, but they also don't attack it, and that's what I've always liked about the game, especially in regards to, like, sex work and you know, kinks and stuff like that. Though I think at times they should be a little bit more, like, hey, knock that off, Mr. Libido, or whatever that guy's name is. Like, put your pants on.
Zero.
Yeah. And stuff like that. But I really like the fact that they show fetishism and they're not immediately like, you know, and
Yeah, I think it's definitely one of the strongest aspects of this series. And actually, since we're already on the topic of Yakuza 7, I think this is the one that has the best representation of two types of populations in Japan, and that is sex workers and homeless people.
Yeah.
And
refugees / homeless people,
Yeah, and just how big role it plays in the story. And it even gets political about the sex work at some point. This is probably the point where I went from, okay, Yakuza 7 is an interesting concept, to I love it.
Yeah, the scene where Bleach shows up to the shop, and the matriarch there is kind of like, these women are just trying to survive, and you're here trying to mess them up, but you're not giving them any other way to survive. So you're, instead of like helping these women, you're just trying to take away their opportunity to survive.
Gakin どもがここの女たちは頑張って働いてるだけさ。
頑張っていれば犯罪も許されるんですか？
お前らみたいな鬼さんにどうこう言われる筋合いないんだよ。
だったらなぜ飲食店として営業許可を取ってるんですか？やましい気持ちがあるからでしょう。
守るもんのためには仕方ねえ時もあんだよ。
守るものとは何ですか？借金の返済日ですか？ローンの支払いですか？
バカ野郎！お前ら体張る女たちを何だと思ってんだ。病気の親を面倒見る娘もいりゃ、幼い子供を抱える母だっていいんだよ。みんなここが最後の砦になってんだ。
聞きましたか皆さん。犯罪で稼いだお金で我が子を育てる女性がいるそうです。その子が将来親の仕事を知ったらどう思うでしょうか？深く傷つき親を恨むでしょう。
職業なんて関係ねえ。どんな親を持ったって幸せになる子はなるんだ。
じゃあ連れてきてくださいよ。風俗嬢を親に持って幸せだってお子さんを。
いちいち上げ足取るんじゃねえ。さっさとここから消えな。
ほらいないでしょ。風俗嬢を親に持って幸せな子供なんて
ここにいるぜ。2階のゴミ箱に入ってたいろんなものの詰め合わせだ。ばらまいてやっから受け取んな。
それってもしかして。
そらよ。
And for me, I mean, I put that scene in my video about it because it's like, it's very much like, this is stuff that needs to be said, and most video games are about space pirates and you know, and stuff like that. This is, and there's in-depth video games, but I always considered, for a game that is very immature sometimes, it is the most grown-up video game series out there. I've always seen it because it's, I mean, the characters are in their, you know, late 30s, early 40s a lot of the time. You know, like Ichiban is like my age, and he sees the world, somebody my age sees the world, you know, and stuff, and because I'm 39, and so it's, I think it's really, really fascinating. And revisiting that, I was gone for a long time, now I'm back, so he has that kind of inset naivety that Kiryu has, is just really great, because Kiryu is oftentimes naive of the world. Like, he's like, I don't know what a dominatrix is, or I don't know what this is, and then we get to experience his journey into these things, and that's what's so endearing about him, but because he's always open-minded. Like, you think a guy like him wouldn't be open-minded, but that's why Kiryu is so
Yeah, but
great.
Kiryu is all about breaking the stereotype, really.
Yeah.
Actually, I showed the first game in the series to my grandma, and she already made this assumption at the beginning of Yakuza 1 Kiwami version. It's that, oh, like, he's the bad guy, he's the gangster type that's going to, like, shoot people, like, yeah. And then once we continued through with that, and she saw him like develop these conversations he's having with people, and him and Haruka, she told me, you know what, I think I judged the book by its cover. And I think that's a great thing about the series, because it does that, and it shines light on populations like homeless population, sex workers. I have been homeless for a short amount of time in my life, actually. So there are parts that like resonate with it, and for as unrealistic as this game series and as wacky as it can be, there's this level of realism that might actually make it one of the most realistic games out there, at least like the mainstream ones.
Well, since we're kind of on that topic, what about the trans character? The big trans character throughout the series.
Oh yeah. So
the one who runs the bar.
Yeah.
Has the 5 o'clock shadow.
Yeah. I remember originally in Yakuza 3, before the remastered version, the one that was on PS3 that I played back in 2018, I think, there's this side quest where she's chasing you across town and Kiryu is running away. And it's sort of, puts this... I think it's just a very uncomfortable side mission that I'm glad they removed in the remastered, because it sort of represents trans people as offenders in a way, which I didn't really like at all.
Well, you have that stereotype in a lot of media where it's like, if you're gay, you just want to have sex with every man, like that. So all the gay characters are always like, I'm gonna just, oh, you're a man? Well, I'm gonna chase you down until I have sex with you, that kind of thing. And there's a couple moments like that in Yakuza, the Hawaii one, that I remember being like, this is kind of weird, like, you shouldn't be engaging in this. But at the same time, this is a total attack on my First Amendment rights, and I'm gonna spend my whole YouTube life complaining about the fact that they removed that scene. And it's... No, anyway. I think it's good that they removed it, because it is a show, the core basis of the game, and I think Ichiban is a better character for expressing this, is that don't judge the book by a cover. You said it perfectly, is that don't judge people's lives. I mean, granted, one of the games is called Judgment, but, but don't take people's lives wholesale, and the best way to understand other people is to get to know them, and that's what we do in the series. And so, but also I think it's interesting because the Yakuza's done in those games, they're largely like the Yakuza doesn't really exist anymore.
No, the organization largely doesn't exist. I think it also signified a sort of a narrative change in those games too. What do you think of the villain in this game?
It's so funny because, like, I remember the end scene, I remember a lot of it, but I'm trying to think, who is the villain in that game?
Oh, okay. Yeah, so it is
so bad.
It's sort of Ichiban's brother, because the patriarch of the family that Ichiban was in had this son that was in a wheelchair.
Oh, so that's the first one. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, who later cured himself, and he came back to Japan from the States, but he was really corrupted at that point. He became a politician. I guess one of my favorite villains in this game might actually be on top there with Ryuji Goda from Yakuza 2.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. Thinking about it now, and that kind of twist of how he had kind of damaged his body just to get this little fix of being out of his wheelchair again and stuff like that. And those, yeah, I thought that was good. And again, that political motivation of that game really helped define of like, you've got the Yakuza, you've got the citizens, and then you've got the government and police. So, and he became, you empathize with the Yakuza and the citizen, and the enemy wasn't some big mob boss, it was a politician instead of, you know, some big guy covered in tattoos, you know. And usually it's the fucking politicians that are, you know.
Yeah. In that sense, I think 7 and 4 are the ones that are most similar to each other, because usually it's a gangster, a mob that is like the main villain. But in 4 you have the police, the corrupted police, and in 7 you have the corrupted politicians or government. So I think 4 and 7 share a similarity of sorts. I would put 7 in peak fiction.
Yeah, I love it. Though I never 100%ed that. I thought I just
understandable.
I moved away from the Xbox at that point. So but I love it.
Yeah, I mean, if you take a look at this list, there's like very few game series that have so many games in S tier.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't think of any other of my favorite game series like Final Fantasy, Resident Evil, Silent Hill. They have a few that are like in this category, but here it's like half the series is S tier.
It feels really auteur driven, you know. Like, I don't really like Metal Gear Solid, but I appreciate those games a lot. And those, again, were really tight. They kept a good grasp on them. So there were a little bit of diversion and spin-offs and card games and stuff like that, but mostly they were auteur-driven, creator-driven games. And
absolutely. It's been a while since I played Metal Gear games, actually, but I love them too.
お前らには言っておいた方がいいだろうな。俺はな、ガンなんだ。俺なりに何もあがかなかったわけじゃねえんだ。これからって時にガタが来ちまった。思い通りにいかねえもんだ。
I love the setting, I didn't like the story at all. I just was like, what is any of this, you know? I lost somebody to cancer, you know, recently, and it just was not a fun experience for me. I don't really play these games to watch somebody slowly die of cancer.
Okay. Actually, for me, this was probably one of the strongest aspects of the game. I think it was sort of heartbreaking because, but at this point you're used to seeing Kiryu as sort of an indestructible character. Like, you think nothing can beat this guy. Like, no human being, no tiger or bear could beat him, right? But then you get the fucking cancer.
Yeah, no, I wish that they would make a game that's like Ichiban has his own game. Make an Ichiban game. I want to live in Ichiban's world, hang out with Ichiban's friends and stuff. Like, I don't really like. I kind of wish that they would just make a Kiryu game and then an Ichiban game instead of trying to put them together. It felt really crowded. And honestly, I played that game pretty recently. If you asked me what the hell the plot of that game was, I would not be able to. There was something about some barrels on an island or something like that.
Yeah.
There was some cult
there was a
leader
cult.
and his mother.
I mean,
but there wasn't really a cult, like, because you didn't. There wasn't a scene where you beat the shit out of a bunch of cult members. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I just kind of, I don't know. Like, I felt it was really weak. You know?
Yeah, I can agree that. I think the plot was all over the place. The game was trying to be many things at the same time, which is also the biggest flaw with Yakuza 5 for me. And this made Infinite Wealth also feel kind of bloated, but not in the same way. I think it all felt more connected in 5, so it's definitely better than 5. I like the turn-based combat in Infinite Wealth better than in 7. I think they made some significant improvements to it, which I really liked. And this Dondoko Island activity,
oh my God,
where you like build a resort.
Maybe my favorite minigame. Maybe I love that one so much. Like,
yeah, I'm on board. I think it's one of the best in the whole series. Yeah, with like Mahjong and Karaoke and the Cabaret Club from 0 and 2.
Yeah,
it's up there. Definitely one of the strongest aspects of this game. But I don't think
I don't like karaoke. I don't like
okay, well,
I just watch them online. I watch the videos online.
okay, we have to agree to disagree on that, because I love it, and I always have to get like 100% score on all the songs, which was a pain in the ass in Dead Souls to do that on this one Majima song, get to the top. This is the hardest one in the whole series, actually.
I'm gonna watch that as soon as we're done here. I'm gonna be in my room, my 100-degree room, dancing to Majima's song in Dead Souls.
Yeah, I'm thinking either great games or flawed but enjoyable.
I think it's great. No, it's great. I mean, I'm like, oh, there's this and that. I put like 150 hours into that game. I love it. I love I love his pet and that whole thing. That I thought that was a great. His Tina or whatever her name is, the little crab that he becomes friends with and stuff like that. Like, that's more of that, please. You know. Also, like the weird thing where you take pictures of naked gay men on the bus. Like that seems like it's something that would be in 3, but not the modern. I was really surprised to see that in the modern ones. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, it's called like Freak Finder or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there are some good things about it. I enjoyed some of the side quests, for sure. And
what the hell was that called with the naked guys? It was called something really offensive. Sicko. That's what it was.
Yeah.
And it's like, these are just gay dudes, you know, in little tiny underwears. They don't make some sickos and stuff like that.
Well, apparently it does, but I think the strongest aspect of this game were the moments between Kiryu and Date.
Yeah.
Which I think it's the best Kiryu Date moments that we see in this game since the first game.
I agree.
And that's what puts it in great games instead of flawed, but enjoyable. That and Dondoko Island.
Yeah. Definitely.
Without it, I think it will be a mid game. This video has been going for a very long time, so let's do the spin-offs. The Man Who Erased His Name and Pirate is Yakuza, like, very quickly, so we don't go in depth on those.
I played about a couple hours of Man Who Erased His Name. It was fun, but wasn't in love with it. I don't like Secret Agent, period.
Okay, it's same. For me, it's a flawed but enjoyable. I mean, I don't think it was flawed necessarily, but it's just not my thing.
But I appreciate the shorter games. Like, I kind of like that.
Oh yeah,
like, I'm not
for sure.
So, same with Ishin. I didn't really play Ishin much. I didn't like the battle system.
Okay, I haven't played Ishin, so you can place it wherever you want to.
Okay, flawed but enjoyable. People seem to like it, you know. And I haven't played Pirate Yakuza, but I'm super stoked on it.
Okay, I have played it, and I'll put it in major problems, but I just think...
Really?
Yeah, my reasoning for it, like, Dead Souls is there because of the gameplay mechanics, largely. Pirates and Yakuza I'll put there because it doesn't feel like a Yakuza game. It's just... And yes, I accepted that the games were moving in a more goofy direction, but I just think this one takes it too far. I don't know. It's just something... It's not what I expect out of Yakuza games to have a pirate game. It just feels so weird.
I'm still gonna play the hell out of it.
Yeah, it's sort of like you open a bag of peanuts, you know, like salty peanuts, and you find a mushroom inside. It's like, you know, I like mushrooms. I love mushroom soups. I don't like mushrooms with peanuts.
I'm cautious about my food now. Anyway, but no, I feel it. I get the vibe. So, but yeah, okay, well, I'll accept that, but I'm still gonna play the heck out of it.
Yeah, no, go ahead. I actually played it. I completed it. I completed a lot of side activities. It's fun for what it is, but it just it doesn't do it for me. It doesn't do it for me. But it's worth playing just for the ending, the very scene at the end, I would say.
Nice.
Just for that.
I've got Claire Obscure to get through, and then I'm gonna get into that. So.
Nice. Alright, so that was it.
That's it?
Yakuza.
That's all the games. Well, okay, now let's do every single game that they've ever been. Let's do Dave the Diver and Sonic Racing and every single game, and probably about 800 mobile games. And I think Kiryu is in Hot Shots Tennis.
He's in Monkey Ball. Like he's in Monkey Ball.
Yeah, he's in Monkey Ball. Yeah, so.
Wow.
Peak fiction.
Extended edition of that video will include those. No, I'm joking. Of course.
Yeah. No. Thank you so much for having me. This was really cool.
Thank you so much for joining me. And it was a pleasure to rank Yakuza games with you. And big thanks to anyone willing to watch this. Subject yourselves to our presence and our personalities. And have a pleasant day, everybody, or night.
Cheers.
Ciao.
Stay kinky.